Wait, what?
I request trial by court-martial.
Yes! Something tells me that's military speak for f you. Hey everybody, and welcome to another movie night. I'm Jackie. And today we are starting a new series, technically a mini-series, but a series, Band of Brothers. I have had this requested so many times, and I've wanted to watch it. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this series, and it's always been on my list. It was just a matter of when it was going to happen. But when I found out that Apple TV was going to be releasing Masters of the Air, which is the new sort of companion series, I guess is what I would call it, because I think there's another companion series called The Pacific that's not so much a sequel or reboot, just again more of a companion, which I believe is just the same producers, it's the same time period, it's just different aspects and different groups in World War II. So I decided to sort of push up the timeline, see if we could get this done before Masters of the Air came out so I could watch it as it was coming out and share it with you guys week to week. But as far as what I know about this series, all I know is it takes place during World War II. I know, obviously, Band of Brothers, I would assume we're following the same group, squadron, platoon. I don't know which term to use here, but I do know that David Schwimmer is in this. The only reason I know that is because one of my roommates in college saw this long before she watched Friends, and so watching Friends for her was really strange, having seen him in this. For me, it's the opposite, and I imagine for a handful of people it probably is. We know Ross from Friends, so seeing him in this context is going to be really interesting. I'm looking forward to it, genuinely, because it's always fascinating to see actors do something different than what you are used to them doing and getting to see their range. I think I also saw Damian Lewis in the thumbnail for this. I could be wrong. Beyond that, I don't know the specifics, and I'm looking forward to getting into it because I have heard that it's very heavy, but again, absolutely spectacular. So I hope you guys enjoy this and stick with me through the journey through the first season and check out Masters of the Air when it comes out. I'm definitely looking forward to watching that. But of course, before we get into this, you guys know the drill. Please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Drop me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this episode. I would love to hear your experiences with this series. Of course, redder is better, so hit what may or may not be a big red subscribe button depending on your browser, and check me out on Patreon for the full-length version of this reaction as well as all of my other content. If you're interested in early access, by the time this video goes up on YouTube, the entire season of Band of Brothers should be up on Patreon, so you can go check those out if you don't want to wait for them to come out on YouTube. And of course, check me out on Instagram and my other socials, which are linked down in the description box below. Since I think we've now checked off every box I need for this intro, let's get into Band of Brothers Episode 1.
We were in a store, and a guy in that store told us to put our uniforms on. What the hell are you talking about?
Are these the actual people that this is based on?
Things. I didn't do them for medals. I didn't do them for accolades. I did them because
It had to be
it's
done.
what had to be done.
Yeah.
Guy said, well, you jump out of airplanes. They said, go to hell. Nobody put up their hands. But you get paid $50 a month more. So that made it $100.
Okay, so based on this intro, I'm going to assume those were the men that this is based on. That is Damian Lewis. I do spy Damian Lewis. Okay, I'm not crazy. Neal McDonough is in everything. So David Schwimmer, Richard Speak, I know that name. Donnie Wahlberg. There are so many names in this. Oh my goodness. They're just flashing by in front of me. Yeah, I would obviously sort of automatically assume that this is based on a true story just because I feel like, I don't want to say all World War II stories are, but kind of the best ones are. I know Saving Private Ryan was based on a true story. Another absolute tearjerker. I sobbed my eyes out through Saving Private Ryan. I had to watch it for a class in film school, and we watched it in our movie theater. Like on campus, we had a screening room that was a full-sized movie theater, and I watched it for one of my classes, and I was sobbing my eyes out the entire time. How do you not sob your eyes out through Saving Private Ryan? I honestly don't think I've watched it since because I couldn't. Executive producers Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg. Okay, because they're doing Masters of the Air as well. I think Neal McDonough, I believe they did The Pacific, and they are doing Masters of the Air as well. That's the sort of through line here. Part 1, okay. Currahee. Is that how you say that? Currahee? June 4th, 1944. A pottery, England. U pottery? U pottery? I don't know how to pronounce any of this. Neal McDonough. That man is everywhere. He is everywhere in everything. We appreciate you, Neal McDonough. God, this feels like found footage. This feels like B-roll in the best way. Just the way that it's shot. The way that literally in those shots people were looking at the camera. Ooh. Okay, Bucky. Yeah, all the handheld cam, all of this feels so B-roll found footage. Very historical, almost documentary.
The Channel Coast is socked in with rain and fog. High winds on the drop zone. No jump tonight.
You mean England is socked in with rain and fog? Shocking.
A few moments later.
Well,
Cary Grant.
this is quite a surprise.
Not particularly. It so happens I rather expected it. Why don't you join the army?
Is that Michael Fassbender? How many famous people are in this? Damian Lewis.
Think it's clearing up?
Nope.
I think it's clearing up. 5 o'clock in New York. 4 o'clock in Chicago.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Happy hour, huh?
Yeah. Happy hour.
Should have been born earlier, Nix.
What, and give up all this? We'll go to Chicago. I'll take you there.
Oh,
Yeah,
don't say things like that.
we'll see.
Yeah. I'm with Damian Lewis on this. You say things like that in a show, it makes it sound like you're gonna die. And it makes me nervous. Oh, okay. 2 years ago. Camp Toccoa, Georgia. Okay.
You people are at the position of attention!
Pivot! Sorry, every time I hear him yelling, that's what it sounds like.
Volunteering for the parachute infantry is one thing, Percante, but you've got a long way to prove that you belong here. Your weekend pass is revoked.
That sucks.
Dirt in the rear sight aperture, pass revoked.
I bet he's popular with the men. I mean, he's doing his job, but...
When did you sew on these chevrons, Sergeant Lipton?
Yesterday, sir.
Long enough to notice this. Revoked.
Sir.
Wow.
Malarkey slang for bullshit, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Tomfoolery.
Rust on the butt plate hinge spring private bullshit. Revoked.
My God. Wow.
Now, thanks to these men, every man in the company who had a weekend pass has lost it.
Well, that's one way to get hated. Say, that's serious dislike.
Private White, why are you not in your PT gear?
He's not okay. Yeah. Oh. It's hard not to feel sympathy. I am really enjoying the way that this is shot so far. They are using some seriously tight close-ups.
Do not help that man! Do not help that man! Do not stop!
At least he's running with them. He may be a hard ass, but he is running at the front of the pack. I do have to respect that. Go, Ginge! This is my personal hell. I hate running more than life itself. No, not more than... That doesn't make sense. I hate running. I hate running.
3 minutes! That may be good enough for the rest of the 506, but that is not good enough for Easy Company!
Easy Company, okay. He wants you to be so good, you make it look easy. As awful as this is right now, something tells me they're going to be very grateful when push comes to shove. The harder you go in training, the easier it is to actually perform when the time comes.
Mission to space, sir. Mission granted. Well, how come we're the only company marching every Friday night, 12 miles, full pack in the pitch dark?
Because they want you to be the best.
Lieutenant Sobel hates us, sir.
No? He's doing this for you. He's not doing this to you. Who's doing this for you?
Lieutenant Sobel does not hate Easy Company, Private Random. He just hates you.
Private Christensen, you have disobeyed a direct order. You will fill your canteen and repeat all 12 miles of the march immediately.
Oh, Ross is a hard ass.
What in the name of God are you doing with my company? You're late, and you allow troopers to disobey direct orders? You're making me look bad, Lieutenant.
Jesus.
And under my command, this will be the first and finest company in this regiment.
Mm-hmm.
I want the names of 6 men, their infractions, and your disciplinary recommendations on my desk by 0130. Is that clear?
Holy sh**.
What infractions, sir?
Find some.
Okay, that's shitty. There's wanting people to be the best, and then there's being an asshole.
Sobel's a genius. You know a man in this company who wouldn't double-time Curry with a full pack just to piss in that guy's morning coffee?
You just broke both your legs, Private Gordon. Are you trying to get yourself killed? No, sir.
What happened to this guy? I mean, there are some people who are genuinely just hard asses, but then there are some who watched something happen to someone else, lost their best friend, someone they loved because that person wasn't prepared. Is he fighting this hard to try to prevent something like that, something preventable from happening to one of them? Because that's oftentimes the motivation for pushing people that hard. Holy sh**. Is that like meat and guts and stuff? Holy sh**.
You have 50 minutes to the top and back, and I will be watching you. What are you waiting for?
Jesus. Come on, you got this. You can do it. Come on, kid. Come on, kid, you got this. Oh, this is tense. This is tense. Are they running it with him? Good teammates. There you go. That's teamwork. That's how you do it.
Company has the finest performance record in the entire 2nd Battalion.
Well done. Good men.
Isn't that Lieutenant Winters leading Easy Company in PT? He's a damn good man. I was planning on giving him a set of these today. Why don't you do it? He'd be proud to get them from you.
Oh, is he not going to give it to him?
Pornography, contraband.
Seriously, dude?
How is it Private Tipper has spare time for so much correspondence?
Captain, are personal letters to be considered contraband?
What the f***, dude?
They have no personal property.
Whoa. Simon Pegg?
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
I am designating you mess officer for 14 days.
Is he punishing him for getting promoted? Like he resents him or something?
I think a special meal before their afternoon off would be a welcome change of pace. Would you agree?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. What's the catch? Oh! Is this... Actually? Oh, okay. Felt like he was incapable of doing anything nice. Why do I feel like there's something bad coming?
What has changed? Get up!
Yep, I was gonna say, what's the catch?
So, the Easy Company is running up Curry! Move!
In the rain. Oh, he did it right after they were stuffing their faces. They're all gonna puke.
Silver!
Yep.
Let's go, let's go!
Yep. He gave them something he knew that... Yep. I knew there was a... This man does not do anything altruistic. Yep.
It can all be over right now. No more pain. No more Captain Sobel. All upon the rises.
Yeah, he's trying to break them. He wants to see who will break. He's an asshole, but he is doing this in their best interest. He's not a sadist. I don't get that sense anyway. Oh, they're training. Okay. He looks like he's in shock. Like, yeah, he looks terrified.
All you have to do is remember what you were taught, and I guarantee you gravity will take care of the rest.
Gravity is one of the few things in the world that you can rely on. No hesitation. Schwimmer hesitated. He hesitated. Yeah. This man is terrified. Oh my god, this shot. The first person shot. That was so cool.
Any refusals in the aircraft or at the door, and I guarantee you, you will be out of the airborne.
What happens to them, though, if they're out of the airborne? Do they get drafted into another platoon, into another faction? Like, I don't imagine they would just send them home.
Are those dusty jump wings? How do you expect to slay the Huns with dust on your jump wings?
Just give me a drink.
Yeah, I think you guys earned a drink. Yep. And he's back.
I want you to know that I'm damn proud of each and every one of you. Now, you deserve this party. Thank you, Sergeant Grant.
Oh, nice.
So I want you to have fun and remember our motto. Hooray!
It's the motto. What does that mean? Does anybody know what that means? Are they going to tell me what that means? June 23rd, 1943. Okay, so this is about a year later, but a year before the opening scene? God, the tight close-ups and the shaky cam on this. God, it gets you so up close and personal and disoriented. It's so good. Yeah, I love all the handheld shots in this. Oh, shit!
Captain, you've just been killed, along with 95% of your company.
Oh, yeah. Exercise. That calls on you, dude. Anything that happens to them is his fault.
You learn him pretty quickly. No flaws, no vices, no sense of humor.
I'm hearing a lot of rumblings.
Sobel? Just talking about that.
He gets a little jumpy in the field.
Mm-hmm. He gets jumpy and then you get killed.
Yeah, listen, if we discuss it, I think it should just be amongst ourselves.
Oh, absolutely.
Speak of the devil. Ears are burning.
You gotta admit, he's got no chance. Either the crowd still get him, or one of us.
Well, you know, I'm always fumbling with grenades. It'd be easy if one went off by accident, you know?
Okay, that's not cool. I get being frustrated, but there's a line. There has to be a line. September 6, 1943. Okay, Brooklyn Naval Shipyard. I admit, I'm remembering the years. I'm losing track of the dates. So we went from June to September? Is that where we're at?
Dear sir or madam, soon your son will drop from the sky to engage and defeat the enemy, and his country ever grateful for his service in its hour of need.
Is he sending notes to...
Signed, Herbert M. Sobel, Captain.
Yeah, is he
commanding.
sending notes to the families of everyone in his squadron? Company? Is that the right term? That's really nice. And again, sort of reinforces that he feels a huge amount of responsibility for them. He's very aware of the pressure on him and all the lives in his hands. What a shot. Oh my god.
Point is, it don't matter where we go. Once we get into combat, the only person you can trust is yourself and the fella next to you.
Hey, as long as he's a paratrooper.
Oh, yeah?
My god, I can't think of that actor's name, but he looks so much like a friend of mine. It's uncanny.
Sobel's late.
Oh. Late for the rendezvous?
Why is there a fence here? Give me the map.
Oh, he's panicking. He's losing it.
We could go over it, sir.
That's not the point. We're the goddamn...
Are we lost? I think we're lost. We've had very little music so far. Just constant ambient noise.
833. Isn't that the intersection?
No, sir, it's here. You're full grid off.
Oh, shirt.
Is there a problem, Captain Sobel?
Who said that?
I think it's Major Horton, sir.
They're gonna get hell for this.
Tell Gardner to move left with second. I'll be right up the middle with third. Go. Yes, sir.
Is Damian Lewis about to outperform him? Deary me, he says. Can't remember what I know him from. Probably several things. Yeah, they're leaning really hard into the realism in the production for this. The minimal music, the heavy ambient noise, the tight close-ups, the handheld camera.
You've done it now, Yanks. You've captured me.
Better late than never.
Would that be the enemy?
As a matter of fact, yes.
You're late.
Who was the idiot who cut that man's fence? Major Horton is on leave in London.
Yeah, they're gonna pay for that prank. Something tells me he does not handle embarrassment very well.
Lieutenant Winters, with Captain Sobel's compliments, sir.
What is it? What's the catch?
Oh, for crying out loud.
Yeah, what is it?
Spelled court-martial. I changed the time to 09:45.
No one told me, sir.
I telephoned.
I'm courted with a family that has no telephone.
Irregardless.
That's not a word.
Sobel, you did that specifically to f with him. Yeah. Like I said, he doesn't handle embarrassment well. He doesn't like that Winters did well and he didn't. So he manufactured an issue so he could court-martial him.
Stand before me at attention.
Yeah. Yep. Petty. Petty to a fault.
You spend your weekends on the base anyway, Dick. Be a man. Take the punishment.
For something I didn't do.
May I borrow your pen, sir?
He's getting sassy.
My endorsement, sir. I
Wait, what?
request trial by court-martial.
Yes! I am not familiar with the particulars, but something tells me that's military speak for fuck you.
We gotta do something. But we'd all better be clear of the consequences.
I don't care about the consequences.
John,
Sure about that?
we could be lined up against a wall and shot.
I will not follow that man into combat.
I mean, do you really want a petty commander? At least this has been my understanding of what's happening.
I hereby no longer wish to serve as a non-commissioned officer in Easy Company.
Group walkout. It's a hell of a way to protest.
Ought to have you all shot.
They were prepared for
Nothing
that.
less than an active mutiny while we prepare for the goddamn invasion of Europe.
And yet,
You consider yourself lucky that we are on the eve of the largest action in the history of warfare, which leaves me no choice but to spare your lives.
yeah, they know he needs them. They respect him. They were willing to walk out for him. Says a hell of a lot. We're willing to face a firing squad for him.
I can only speculate, sir. Most of the men would never do this.
You sure about that?
And these few sergeants convinced all of the other NCOs in your company to turn in their stripes.
As staff sergeants, they have a great amount of influence, sir. But as I say, the rest are good men. I know them. I can work with them.
They can't work with you. Yeah, that's not the problem. The problem is they can't work with you.
This business of the Winters court-martial has been an unpleasant distraction.
Mm-hmm.
Your command of Easy Company has been exemplary.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm. And yet?
Frankly, I can't think of anyone more qualified to command such a school than you are.
So you're not going to war, you're going to teach.
I'm reassigning you to Chilton Foley.
Mm-hmm. He's heartbroken. I get the sense that in his mind he gave them everything.
I'm losing Easy Company?
Is that their polite way of saying, we know what you did? I get the sense that in his mind he gave them everything.
Carry on.
He feels like he just had everything he worked for ripped away from him. Do I get the sense he's not going to take it well? Yeah. Petty.
Well, some of it's from the omens, some of these tail is knocked up. It's for you lads, actually, so I can get your mince pies on some of this Jerry clobber, if you know what I mean.
No clue. Yep.
You know why they volunteered? So when things got really bad, the man in the foxhole next to them would be the best.
Touche.
Not some draftee who's gonna get him killed.
Are you ticked because they like me?
What if you'd won?
Never put yourself in a position where you can take from these men.
Ooh. That's a good point.
Linear distance on the grid of about... So, it's Normandy.
Oh. They're predicting based on their training where they're going to drop them, where they're going to be assigned.
Provides 2 beachheads, codenamed Utah here and Omaha here.
Puts a different light on things, knowing they're about to storm Normandy.
Here in this area, Sainte Marie de Mont. Easy company will destroy that garrison.
Or die trying.
You know, they stop wasting as much as I do. I still got my shoot, my reserve shoot, my May West, my M1.
Why do you think you've been training so hard?
Garnier's brother in Italy, Henry, killed in Monte Casino.
Well, I'm sure he doesn't know.
Damn.
Don't tell him right
What do you
before
think
he
I should do?
Don't tell him right now. That's going to be the only thing in his head.
If it were me, I'd tell him.
A couple of hours before we jump?
Yeah, no, don't do that to him. I mean, that's tough, because on the one hand, yeah, he deserves to know, but yeah, that's going to mess with him. That's going to be the only thing he can think about.
Soldiers of the regiment, tonight is the night. You're en route to the great adventure for which you have trained for over 2 years.
Suddenly not funny anymore.
That's why they gave us ice cream.
Because a lot of you are going to die. They gave you a last meal. The special last meal.
The invasion has been postponed. We're on a 24-hour stand down.
Okay, so we've come full circle. We're back up to the present. See, that's so stressful, because on the one hand, great, you get another 24 hours, you get to postpone it. On the other hand, when you're mentally ready for something and you've been preparing, and the fact that you have to wait longer, that just adds so much stress and so much tension.
Here is Johnny.
Are you wearing the wrong jacket, dude?
Got the wrong goddamn jacket.
Yeah. Do not interrupt my movie.
Bill Garnier's brother.
Oh, no. Oh, shit. Is that him? Is that Garnier? Did he literally find out because he found the note in someone else's jacket? Oh my god. It's really hard to imagine a worse way to find out. Oh my god, these extreme close-ups. That extreme close-up. Yeah, they are really trying to get you in these guys' heads. They want you to feel up close and personal with them, almost to the point that it's uncomfortable. Literally to the point that it's disquieting to be that close up on someone. June 5th, 1944. It's one of the few times we've had music in this episode. Yeah, they're looking directly into camera. Oh my god. This is so interesting. The way that they're shooting this is so well done. Having them look directly into camera like that, instead of taking you out of the immersion, it sucks you in because you are looking right in their eyes. You are staring into the eyes of men who are about to die. It feels so found footage. It feels so real.
Where the fuck is Monte Casino?
I don't know. Italy somewhere. Sorry about your brother, Bill.
Sorry for my mom.
Bill, I'll meet up with you over there.
Famous last words. Someone's not making it. I mean, it's Normandy, so obviously we know that, but... God, the symbolism of him pulling them up one at a time. The respect of looking each of them in the eye, knowing what's probably about to happen to them. Oh, the choir in the background here. Oh. The fact that they can literally barely climb up into the airport, they're carrying so much weight. It's obviously literal and metaphorical. This scene, this sequence right here, oh my god. Yeah, he doesn't get in till all his men are in. That was an incredible sequence. Yeah, this sort of choir in the background is so ominous. It sounds like a funeral choir, a church choir. It's simultaneously, a choir like this is symbolic of glory and tragedy at the same time. Like, that's what it makes me feel. But the fact that you know where they're going, the way that they're playing out, and the fact that you know exactly where they're going, they're trying to start you with the emotional punches before it even happens. I love the way this is shot. I know I'm gushing, but just them moments like that where they go in and out of focus, it really, really mimics a sort of documentary found footage style. This whole episode so far, and I imagine the whole series, is shot that way. And it's such a great choice. It's such an incredible touch. The drums. Yeah, the horns and the drums. This music is so fascinating because the drums feel very funeral march, but the horns feel very hopeful and powerful. It's such a fascinating contrast. And again, perfect. We know they're going into Normandy. That's exactly what we're supposed to be feeling, but that's just... God, everything about this is so good. Every single detail about this is so good. Oh my God, what a shot. What a shot. What a sequence. Oh my God. What a sequence. Oh my God, a scene at night where I can actually see. Thank you to whoever lit this. Thank you for giving me cold light so even though it's supposed to be dark, I can see them. Blessings be upon this cinematographer. Yeah, this proud music playing over the faces of absolutely terrified soldiers on their way to Normandy. God, everything about this is so good. Oh my God. What a shot. What an incredible shot. Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark on the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking. General Dwight D. Eisenhower, Supreme Allied Commander. Future President Eisenhower. Wow. Wow. The fact that this is only the first episode, and this is just training and setting them up for Normandy, we haven't even hit. Holy crap. The fascinating thing about looking at history, and I forget where I heard this the first time, somebody said at one point it's incredibly easy. You know what? Funny, I think it was actually someone was talking about Hamilton. I don't know if it was Lin-Manuel Miranda or someone talking about Hamilton, but this idea of the American Revolution, and it's easy in retrospect, it's easy looking back on it to sort of see it as a foregone conclusion of this is what was going to happen. Of course, this is what was going to happen because it is what happened. But at that time, but also obviously before storming Normandy, nobody knew what was going to happen. Nobody knew it was going to work. Obviously, they had some sense of it. I've seen The Imitation Game. If you haven't, you should. But it's fascinating to look at these events with the context of knowing the statisticians working behind it, knowing that so many of these battles and so many of these attacks were planned based on statistics, were planned because mathematicians and code breakers broke Enigma and had to decide how many victories they could take, how many of those messages they could act on without the Germans discovering that they had broken the code, but still in a way that would turn the tide of war and in a way that they could win. And I remember, I think from that movie, that Normandy was a calculated risk based on those statistics. It was literally them with numbers and arithmetic deciding that that was possible, deciding that that was a worthwhile calculated risk to do. It's so fascinating to look back on things like that with that knowledge now, but also the understanding that they didn't know. It's so easy to look back and assume that they knew what was going to happen just looking at it from retrospect, but of course they didn't. If that didn't work, if Normandy didn't work, if they didn't win, how would we talk about that today? How would we look at it today? What would the world look like today? So that's incredibly fascinating. And that's just sort of what that made me think of, those final sequences and how terrified they were and exactly how real that was, that they had no idea. I know I've talked about this so much. The way that this is shot, the entire production of this is spectacular. Obviously, it's incredibly well written, but the way that they're shooting this, these extremely tight close-ups that they're using are almost disorienting. They're almost uncomfortable. But that's something that you do when you want to be up close and personal, when you are so close in someone's personal space that you feel like you're invading it. It's disorienting. That is how visually on film you get intimate with someone. And so that's what they're doing. They're trying to get you so close to them so that you feel personally attached to them and you feel connected to them and you feel like you're there with them, and it increases these stakes because they're people. But also things like the handheld camera, constantly. There are very few static shots. Like there's so much movement in the camera because it's handheld. And again, that's something they use to disorient you, but it's something to make you feel like you're there. It's not clean and smooth. It doesn't feel shiny and glossy. It feels documentary. It feels real. And everything they're doing here is trying to make this as real as possible. This feels like half documentary, half scripted, because they have those moments of the soldiers looking into the camera. That's something you see a lot in found footage. It's something you see a lot in B-roll and footage of actual soldiers in World War II, is them looking into the camera, because it's not a film, it's real. And so including that brings you back, and it makes you feel like you're watching something real. It makes you feel like you're watching documentary footage and not a TV show. So every single decision they're making, even down to we didn't have much music until the end. We didn't have much music until those sweeping wide shots, until those moments when it becomes real that they're going to Normandy. Up to that point, we are in the trenches with them training. There's very little music. It's all ambient noise. It's all Foley. And that's another thing about realism. That's just sucking you in, and that's trying to make you feel like you're there. And it is done so well. Oh my God, it's done so well. And I'm only one episode into this, and I can understand already why people say this is as good as it is, and why I've obviously had so many requests to do it, because it is spectacular. I'm so impressed already. Absolutely so impressed already. And I'm fascinated with David Schwimmer. I imagine we're going to see him again. Like, I would be really surprised if we only see him for one episode. But he's a really fascinating character because there's so much depth to him. And again, props to David Schwimmer. I don't see Ross. I am so impressed by his performance. He has range. I give him credit. I've seen him in a couple of other things, but the extremes of going from something like this to going to something like Friends, it's incredible to see his range. But that character, Sobel, is really, really fascinating because he's complex. You can tell that he is a perfectionist, that he wants to be the best. There's a personal drive in him, a competitive, petty drive in him that wants to be the best. And he will push his men unreasonably sometimes to make them the best. That being said, I think there is also an element to it of he's very aware that these men's lives are in his hands. And I think he wants that. I think that's a point of pride for him. I think that's something that he values. But it's also a huge amount of pressure to know that you have all these men's lives in your hands. The fact that he sent personal notes to the family members of every single man in his company, I don't know if that's a standard thing to do. Maybe that is. But the fact that they included it here, even if it is a standard thing to do, the fact that they included it in this is meant to show the audience he does care, and he's very aware that each of these men is a person who has a family that cares about him. And the anxiety that we see on his face, the stress, the nervous energy of anytime he does something wrong, he wants to do it himself. When they got lost, he was stressing out so much, and he was struggling listening to anybody else because he needed to be the one that was right. But I think he has trust issues. Like, he doesn't trust anybody else or something. But he's a perfectionist to the point of, again, being petty. he does not respect anyone else who does better than him because it makes him feel bad about himself. And so seeing someone like Winters, who does his job with no complaint, doesn't mess up, will deal with whatever shit gets thrown at him, and whose men respect him, the others truly respect him because he is always on their side and supporting them. Sobel can't handle that. This is my interpretation of this, but it seems to me that he can't handle that because it makes him feel bad, and he'll lash out and he'll take it out on him. And I don't know, the fact that he was genuinely heartbroken, though, I had a moment where I wondered if that was his plan, if that was just he was terrified of this and he was trying to sabotage himself and get himself transferred, because he did wind up getting transferred to teach again. He wasn't sent to Normandy. And I don't think that's something he could have predicted, which is why I don't think it's what he did. But the fact that he was such a great trainer, and this general, I think it was a general, saying to him, "You're so good, I need you to go train more people instead of risking your life to die with the rest of them." That's a really bittersweet thing, because on the one hand, it's a huge compliment to him. It's saying, you did your job really, really well. On the other hand, he kind of feels like, shit, I did it too well. Now I don't actually get to go with them. So I think he's really fascinating. I think he's an incredibly fascinating character, and David Schwimmer gave him so much depth and played him really, really well. So there's so much in this. There's so much to sort of talk about and dissect about this. But on the whole, an incredible first episode, set up so strongly. And I'm really excited to watch the rest of this. I know it's going to be heartbreaking. I know it's going to be really probably painful to watch in moments, but I'm already just so impressed that the film lover in me is just like, ooh, give me more, give me more, give me more. And now I can't wait for Masters of the Air, because it's obviously the same producers and it's companion series. And if it is up to this standard or even close to this standard, it's going to be incredible. So I am so excited to continue this, and I hope you stick with me. Join me next week here on YouTube for the next episode. But if you'd like early access, the entire season of Band of Brothers is already up on Patreon, so go ahead and check that out if you don't want to wait. And of course, please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Drop me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this episode on Band of Brothers. What are your thoughts on Masters of the Air? What are your experiences with watching this? When did you watch this? Is this something that you have a personal connection to? I would love to hear your stories. Redder is better, so hit what may or may not be a big red subscribe button, depending on your browser. And of course, check me out on Patreon for the full-length version of this reaction, as well as all of my other content. And of course, I have links to my Instagram and other social media in the description below, so don't forget to check me out there. On that note, I will see you guys next week for episode 2.